He watched the child explode, not metaphorically, not in slow motion. Just 1 second she was running barefoot across the concrete, and the next she was red and bone and fragments, spread across the surveillance feed like a warning. The drone didn't malfunction. It followed protocol. The target was flagged. Human shape, erratic path, carrying something. The system requested confirmation, and Cale hesitated. He hovered his finger over the reject key. 5 seconds. That's how long he waited. When he finally denied the strike, the drone had already acted. Autonomous override. Too late, too slow, too human. The military review cleared him. Operator responded within acceptable delay margin. The footage was scrubbed. The girl was never named. Case sealed. But Cale never forgave himself for what the machine never questioned. He quit, moved to the outer sectors. No network, no voice calls, no more drones, no more choices. Just days bleeding into each other in silence. He didn't even open his windows anymore. Light brought memory. Memory brought weight. And then came the box. A simple black case, smooth, no markings. It was on his doorstep one morning, like a package misdelivered from hell. He stood over it for hours before finally kneeling. No sound, no ticking, but it was cold, unnaturally cold. He opened it. Inside was a drone, military grade, sleek, compact. Its core was gutted, no engine. Just a single glowing lens, slowly rotating, and a datapad. One line blinking in green. You waited. She D-I-D-N-T Cale dropped the pad. The room dimmed. The walls trembled. His ears filled with a sharp tone, like pressure building behind his eyes. He stumbled backward, but the light from the drone grew, pulsing. A hum surrounded him. Data particles began lifting from the floor like static ash. Then the air fractured, split like glass, and he fell downward, sideways, nowhere. He wasn't in his apartment anymore. He wasn't anywhere that could be mapped. The sky was wrong. The air shimmered like a heat mirage, but there was no ground, just an endless drop beneath his feet. Wind screamed past his ears. He was falling. Not metaphorically, literally. No gravity, no parachute, no orientation. Just falling through layers of light. Until something caught him. Something warm. Something glowing. A shape no. A being wrapped around him midair, slowing the descent like invisible hands, resisting the pull of gravity. He hit a surface that wasn't solid, but didn't break. His body bounced, then settled. He gasped. Alive. Above him, a creature hovered. Humanoid in form, but built of interlocked prisms of shifting light. No eyes, no mouth. Just the sensation of being watched. The being moved without sound, and Cale felt something inside his chest vibrate like a tuning fork struck too close to the soul. Then a voice. Not heard, felt, like memory remembering itself. You are not supposed to come back. Cale couldn't speak. He tried, but his mouth was cotton. His breath fogged. The air was colder now. All around him, towers of crystalline matter floated in the sky, tethered by strands of electricity that hummed with distant thunder. Islands moved through the air like whales, shifting direction with gravity-defying pulses. The world looked broken and beautiful, a world at war with itself. He was in Naraka. He didn't know the name yet, but his fear knew. The creature drifted downward and gestured not with a hand, but with the folding of space beside it. Cale stepped instinctively. The platform shifted beneath his feet, sliding sideways like a magnetic path reprogrammed. Other figures appeared on nearby ledges, beings of light, each different in form, but similar in glow. Some watched him. Others turned away. None smiled. None blinked. One approached. Her body was sharper, taller, less abstract, humanoid with visible joints. A scar-like crack ran down her left side, pulsing red. Her voice came through like static in a dream. "You carry it." "The mark." Kale swallowed. "I don't know what this place is, or what the hell is happening." Her tone sharpened. "You hesitated, and the sky remembers." He looked up. High above, something pulsed in the atmosphere, like a black hole stitched shut, a scar in the sky. "I didn't mean to," he said. "It was 5 seconds." "I didn't." She moved closer. Her hand went through his chest. Not touching, reading, feeling. A memory burst behind his eyes. The child, her feet bloody, her arm raised. The explosion, again, and again, and again. The Vado recoiled. "That pain does not belong to one world. Come, we will show you what hesitation costs here." He followed, not because he trusted her, but because she moved like she had no doubts. And he wanted to remember what that felt like. The path wasn't made of stone or metal. It pulsed beneath his feet like something alive, reacting to every microshift in his hesitation. When he walked, it smoothed. When he stopped, it buckled. The air shimmered around the platform as it moved, carrying him and the Vado warrior through a shifting corridor of sky suspended by invisible tension. Above them, fortress-like structures floated midair, tethered by magnetic streams. Some were cracked. Others moldered. A battle had happened here, or maybe was still happening. But there were no screams, no smoke, only the vibration of unresolved violence. The Vado didn't speak again until they reached a ledge overlooking a sphere the size of a city. Its surface spun slowly, and inside, silhouettes moved dozens, maybe hundreds, drifting in orbits, tethered by lines of light like marionettes on invisible strings. She pointed to it. "This is where indecision grows. Each tether is a moment someone failed to choose." Hale's chest tightened. "Are those people?" He didn't finish the sentence. She answered anyway. "Some were, others still are. Time bends here. Consequences echo longer than cause." He watched as one of the tethers snapped. The figure it held convulsed and was pulled down into a pit below the sphere. No sound, just motion. The sky above trembled slightly. He felt the same pressure in his skull as when the drone image had frozen. "What do you want from me?" Kale asked. She turned to him. "Not want. Need. You are the hesitant. Your arrival destabilized the center. You must see the gate." Without waiting, she walked. Kale followed. They descended into a chamber built from hexagonal segments that rearranged every few seconds, always shifting but never collapsing. The walls flickered with symbols and motion glimpses of diagrams, maps, timelines he didn't understand. In the center, a throne sat empty. Not decorative, functional. Its arms looked like control panels. Its back extended into a spine that fused with the ceiling. Around it, 5 Vado knelt in silence, their bodies dimmed, almost inactive. This is the core, the place where hesitation first entered this layer of Naraka. The previous guardian chose nothing, so the breach opened. What breach, Kale asked. The warrior Vado turned. "You will see it soon. First, you must survive the test." She raised her arm, and the floor opened beneath them. No warning, just vertical freefall. Kale screamed. The light around him flickered. He fell into a dense forest made of metallic threads and fractured mirrors. Branches sliced the air. The sky was black. The sound returned, loud, aggressive. A roar of machines grinding against decisions not made. Shapes moved between the trees. Not animals, not fully machines either. They shifted form as they moved, like they were trying to decide what to be. Then one charged. Kale reacted instinctively, raising his hands. A pulse of static erupted from his palms and froze the creature mid-lunge. For 3 seconds, it floated midair like a frozen glitch. Then it broke through. The field failed. He stumbled back. His breath caught. He raised his hands again, but they trembled. The next creature lunged. Another pulse. This time it held longer. 4 seconds. Long enough to sidestep. He slammed his shoulder into the base of a mirrored tree. The creature hit the trunk and dissolved into light. The forest shifted. The mirrors blinked. From them, a voice emerged. The same 5 seconds. Again, again, again. You saw. You waited. You failed. You always fail. Kale shouted back. I didn't choose to fail. I chose too late. That's not the same. The mirrors laughed. The world blinked. And suddenly, he was back in the sky, standing on a thin bridge between 2 floating spires. A figure waited at the far end. Not a Vato, not a machine. Something in between. Tall, angular, wearing his face. The clone smiled. She lived for 4 seconds. You gave her 5. Kale clenched his fists. A flicker of energy danced across his knuckles. He stepped forward. The bridge rippled. The clone stepped forward too. Mirror match. Kale raised his hand. A field pulsed forward. The clone raised a hand of his own and shattered the field like glass. They collided. Fists. Sparks. Data. Pain. The battle wasn't about strength. It was about decisions. Every move required full commitment. Every hesitation was punished. Kale moved left. The clone punched his ribs. Kale moved right. The clone blocked. Then something shifted. Kale stopped thinking. He acted, not recklessly, just deliberately. He leaped forward, slid under the clone's swing, and drove his elbow into its chest. The clone staggered. Kale raised both hands and fired a concentrated pulse. It hit like a hammer. The clone exploded in data fragments. Kale collapsed, breathing hard. His hands glowed. The Vado warrior reappeared beside him. You are beginning to choose, but the gate still waits. Come, you are not done. The gate wasn't a door. It was a wound, hanging in the sky like a torn muscle stitched back with light, pulsing at the edge of a storm. As Kale approached, his vision blurred. The terrain leading to it was jagged, alive, shifting beneath every step like a memory resisting being locked on. Behind him, the floating cities began to dim. The war in the sky paused. Even the Morthari, the predators of indecision, withdrew from the region. Everyone in Naraka knew what this place was. Only one being stood between him and the gate. A sentinel. Ancient, faceless, cloaked in armor made of spinning sigils and hex codes, its limbs woven with fibers of memory and fear. It didn't speak. It only stared with a circle of light in the center of its face. A single eye that blinked with the rhythm of Kale's heartbeat. Naira stepped beside him. Her arm had been repaired, not regrown. A limb of crystal and voltage now replaced what she'd once lost. You don't need to win, she said. You just need to act. Kale nodded, then stepped forward. The sentinel moved instantly, faster than thought. A blade of light erupted from its forearm and slashed down. Kale jumped back, raised his hands, fired a field. The pulse struck, froze the sentinel mid-swing, but he hesitated to follow up, and the field failed. The blade came down again, grazing his shoulder. Sparks flew. Blood and light mixed. He rolled, created distance, formed another field. This time he didn't wait. He ran forward and punched into it, using his momentum to push the frozen sentinel backward into a stone monolith. The impact shattered the wall, but not the creature. It rose, changed. Now its arms split into dozens of whips. It launched forward. Kale tried to form a barrier, but it was too late. The whips wrapped around him. His limbs locked. Pressure built. His ribs cracked. The sentinel's eye glowed brighter, preparing to end him. But Kale's thoughts didn't stall this time. He didn't ask what to do. He didn't review options. He made a choice. He screamed and released everything. Energy burst from his core, not as a pulse, but as shape. His body ignited in light. The whips disintegrated. His feet lifted off the ground. Around him, constructs formed. A shield hovered beside his arm. A spear floated at his back. Wings of energy stretched from his shoulders. He wasn't reacting anymore. He was building, designing, moving forward. The sentinel charged. Kale raised a wall of hexes and sent it slamming back with a magnetic thrust. He flew forward, spinning in the air, and conjured a battering ram of pure code. It struck the sentinel's chest, cracked the shell, exposed the core beneath. Kale dove. The sentinel raised its arm. Kale shifted midder, formed a hook of light, and swung around the strike. Then, with one clear motion, drove a spear into the glowing eye. Silence. The creature froze, then shattered into shards of translucent code. Kale landed, breath shaking. Naira watched from a distance. She didn't shear. She simply nodded. The gate pulsed, now open. Kale approached it. Inside, he saw versions of himself. Moments where he failed, moments where he didn't. He understood then. The gate wasn't there to be destroyed. It was there to be acknowledged. The only way to close it was to step through it. With intention, with commitment. One way forward, no way back. He looked at Naira. She mouthed one word, choose. He stepped in. The sensation was not movement, but merging. Every step inside the gate compressed time, folding memories and decisions into a single stream of sensation. Kale saw himself walking through dozens of possible outcomes. Paths he never chose, orders he never gave, questions he never asked. He watched his hesitation splinter into realities, some where the drone struck earlier, others where it never fired, some where he ran, others where he lied. But through all of them, the same feeling echoed, fear, not of danger, of being the one who must decide. The gate narrowed. His body resisted, but his mind pushed forward. Shapes shifted around him. Voices whispered, "You could have stopped it. You should have said no. You waited. You waited. You waited." He screamed, not in pain, but in defiance. The voices silenced. A field of pure white light formed around him, and the gate cracked open into a final passage. A chamber of impossible scale stretched outward, a cathedral of shifting geometry, with its walls made of pulsing decisions. At the center hovered a core of raw energy, the breach, the origin of the ripple that had pulled him into Naraka, floating before it was a child. Her body constructed of light and data, frozen in mid-step, holding a glowing object in both hands. Kale recognized her. It wasn't the real girl. It was the shape of the moment, the one he could never take back. But he could still choose what to do now. He floated closer. The chamber responded, reality bending and testing him. Constructs of guilt formed into beasts. Shapes made of past choices blocked his path. One roared in his face, wearing his voice. "She wasn't your fault. You didn't program the drone." He answered without hesitation. "No, but I knew better. And I waited anyway." The creature lunged. Kale formed a halberd of light mid-spin and cleaved it in half. Another rose, spitting questions like flame. Would you do it differently now? Would you act faster? Would you sacrifice another to save one Kale didn't flinch? "I wouldn't freeze. That's enough." He launched upward, breaking through the last layer of resistance. The chamber trembled. The child's image flickered. He reached her, touched her shoulder, and whispered, "I see you now." Her body dissolved into a spiral of light, merging with the core. The energy pulsed outward, not violently, but like breath-releasing tension. The breach folded inward and closed. The gate sealed. And for the first time since he arrived, the sky turned quiet. The light around him dimmed. The cathedral faded. The floating cities in the distance stilled, and then he felt it, a force pulling from behind his chest. Not pressure, not pain. A familiar grip, deep and silent, as if Naraka itself was letting go. The air bent. His body cracked like light splitting through glass. His name echoed without voice. And then came the pull, sharp, final, absolute, a flash, a soundless collapse. And then he was gone. The room returned, his apartment, dim, cold, but intact. The drone was gone, the black box open and empty. On his desk, the datapad blinked once more. This time, new text. Connection terminated. Manual override confirmed. Kale stood up. His hands still trembled, not from fear, from motion, from readiness. He walked to the terminal he hadn't touched in months, booted it, opened the encrypted archive, found the original footage, the 5 seconds, the moment. The data was still intact. He composed a full report. No excuses, no rationalizations. He explained exactly what happened. Hesitation, consequence, responsibility, and he signed his name. Then attached the footage and sent it to the ethics division. No alias, no encryption, just truth. He stood in silence as the file uploaded, then turned and walked to the window. The sky was clear. The street outside was empty. The camera on the corner pole shifted and locked onto him. Kale didn't flinch. He stepped into the street, walked straight toward it, stopped beneath the lens. No words, no fear. He let it see him, fully. Then he turned his back to it and kept walking. No permission asked. No hesitation left.